Gojo dying was the best thing for the people around him. With now don't click off the video, hold on, it's not as bad as it sounds. Imagine someone who scares even the mightiest of opponent, a monster with more eyes than a human should, truly unhinged, overpowered from early on yet misunderstood across the board. Reality of the Strong is a sad song. Understand I am talking about the Silver Spoon Sorcerer with the blindfold on. Hey guys, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I'm really close to 1,000 subs. I really appreciate all the support this far, and I got a lot more stuff coming up. Stay tuned, I think you'll like it. Peace. Satoru Gojo, the Honored One. Whether that's self-proclaimed or not, doesn't really matter in this video. I'm just looking at the two strongest beings in Jujutsu Kaisen. There's obviously a big difference between each of these sorcerers. Sure, one has 2 arms, one has 4 arms, one has 6 eyes, the other has 4 eyes. We can do this all day. Gojo was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. That is no disrespect to him. I'm not trying to take anything away from his legacy. He's a GOAT. The reality of the situation is he was born blessed and gifted with the best curse technique in the verse. And he even got the eyes that you needed to fully unlock his potential, which this is the first time in the last 400 years. Sure, he is a prodigy and he earned his spot at the top. The objective truth is that he was gifted those things. He did nothing in kind to earn them, but he stamped his spot at the top through hard work and training. And with Yuta body hopping into his body, one, we get the answer that he is the strongest because he saw through Gojo. And 2, Gojo had to have put in a lot of time into perfecting this technique. It's not as easy as he makes it look. It's not stated outright in the series because we never got the flashback, but you can look at how Sukuna is presented within his writing. That it seems he had to work to understand and learn curse energy. He clawed his way all the way to the top, and he was never planning on leaving it anytime soon. In fact, he must have stayed there so long he got bored in the Heian era and chose to traverse time as a cursed object, 1,000 years, which is also how he lost. That greediness is what gave him that sad, lame death. But to be fair, he didn't want to die old or through sickness, just like Gojo. There's not much that needs to be said for Sukuna. It's pretty obvious the way he uses binding vows and his understanding of manipulating curse energy, or just curse energy as a whole. His grasp on it is better than everyone else's. I believe the power system is intrinsically tied to your perception, and that's the reason why Sukuna can use binding vows so well. He knows where his curse technique and curse energy starts and stops. He knows everything in between, there's no gray area. So he knows an exact one-to-one trade in order to make a binding vow go through. A man who was blessed and was gifted with so much at birth honestly led a pretty tragic life. He couldn't save his best friend, the person closest to him. The people around him saw him as a monster, proclaimed himself to be the Honored One, when the narrator claimed Sukuna the Honored One. But he died with no regrets, which is huge in the world of Jujutsu Kaisen alone, and I think he came out in spades. He definitely came out in the positive in all things considered. There's one more side to this though, and that is how his death affected everyone else. Gojo dying was the best thing for the people around him. With Gojo now don't click off the video, hold on. It's not as bad as it sounds, and I'm sure Gojo would do it the same way all over again if he had to. With Gojo being around, it basically acted as a crutch for the surrounding cast. It had kind of a collar, a limiter, bottlenecking their ability to reach max potential. With him there was always that underlying thought of Gojo's here, he'll take care of it. It limited students that he taught and even his peers. I mean, just look at the vibes of the chapter where Gojo gets unsealed. It's almost as if the worst possible thing just didn't happen 10 chapters prior. That's how much faith and how much confidence and comfort they have in Gojo. Not as a mentor, not as a teacher, not as a friend, but comfort in Gojo being Gojo and the seat that he holds at the top. His dream was to foster a bunch of smart and strong students that will grow and be able to make change, and that's what's happening before us. So his dream will have come true. In order for his students to reach the next level, for them to reach their potential, he had to die. He didn't get to see it, but it's just the fact of them reaching it is enough for him. You know, there's a lot to love about Gojo, not just in how badass he is or how cool he looks, because all that rings true, but he is a sensei that cares. I don't believe he is a top 3 sensei in terms of being able to actually teach, and it's not that he doesn't want to teach, it's just hard to ask a prodigy to teach you. They don't perceive things the same way, and that is still true for Gojo. But he is someone who cares, and ultimately, for his position in the actual story of Jujutsu Kaisen and not the universe of Jujutsu Kaisen, he plays his role perfectly. He is a phenomenal sensei for what we need him for. The rest of the cast filled in where Gojo couldn't in order to help everybody obtain their next level. All in all, even though within the universe he was gifted so much, he still earned his title as Satoru Gojo, the strongest sorcerer of the modern era. Whereas Sukuna, the strongest sorcerer in history, like I previously said, I think we can agree that he wasn't born with much. He was born in the golden age of Jujutsu, where the baseline level of sorcerers was higher. He had a tougher time fighting his way to the top, but he did just that. He did whatever he had to do. He wasn't above being a sorcerer for sorcerer's sake, playing a dirty card, whatever it took to win, that's what he did. Sukuna is the best sorcerer of all time. Gojo has the best curse technique. And these two taking very different avenues, you can almost argue, where Sukuna takes maybe more of a main character road of starting at the bottom and working his way to the top, whereas Gojo was this gifted kid that was guaranteed this ultimate power and money and status. But instead of turning evil, like he very well could have, he was saved by his best friend. His best friend was there to save him from going down that path, but because of his position, he wasn't able to be there to save him. He doesn't want anyone else to deal with that situation. He nurtured strong and smart students to help create this change. It just took him dying in order for them to get to that level he dreamed them to get to. It sucks he's not there to see it, but Sukuna is also not there. And Gojo went out in a way more badass fashion, so there is that. Satoru Gojo, these flowers are for you. Thanks for staying for the whole video. Stay normie, stay weeb. Shit even in between is fine. Until next time, peace.